our goal is to help authors just create, directly sell, and then directly sell their audiobooks and earn as much as possible.
Welcome. I'm joined today by Madeline Shue, Head of Author Growth at ElevenReader. ElevenLabs. ElevenReader is part of ElevenLabs, is a first-year sponsor at AuthorNation, and will have a booth all week on the Mix and Mingle Midway. She'll be presenting a session at the show, and we're here today to talk to Madeline about all things audio and what's going on with her company and why they're so excited about being part of the Author Nation community. How you doing, Madeline? Welcome.
Hey Joe, great to be here. We're so excited for Author Nation. It's been awesome to work with you so far, and we're having so much fun connecting with all these authors and listeners out there.
Cool. I mean, we're really starting at ground zero for folks. This is the first time you've been at the show, and I mean, how old is ElevenLabs as far as a company? Like, you're a baby,
Yeah.
right?
So just to kick things off, to give everyone kind of the high level on ElevenLabs. So ElevenLabs is an AI audio platform. We've been around for a little over 2 years now, but it's been kind of a rocket ship journey since then. We've now raised over $200 million. We have close to 300 employees worldwide. And we specialize in creating the most lifelike synthetic AI voices in the world. So if you've ever heard a voice and wondered, like, was that AI or was that a human? It's probably us. We work with everyone from Fortune 500 companies to game developers, educators, content creators, and everyone who kind of is leveraging these voices that have been built by our world-class team of researchers, AI audio researchers, and engineers, building just state-of-the-art speech models. And so that's a bit about what ElevenLabs does. We found early on that kind of one of our earliest adopters of the platform was actually authors. And so folks coming to our website and using our text-to-speech models to narrate their audiobooks. And so, originally kind of indie authors were one of the original core demographics of ElevenLabs, and we've continued to scale that over time. And this is what led us to build ElevenReader. So ElevenReader is a platform for authors and publishers to create audiobooks and distribute them to their listeners around the world. And I would characterize it as there's kind of three core problems being solved by ElevenReader. So the first is, we're unlocking a net new supply of audio content. There's all of these amazing books that otherwise probably wouldn't be produced in audio because it's super expensive. There's a ton of friction to getting an audiobook produced. Yet at the same time, audio is one of the, if not the fastest growing format in publishing. I believe it is the fastest growing format.
Yeah, it is right now.
I think I've seen somewhere like, 25% year over year or something like that growth in the audiobook market.
Well, and I would just interject there that in certain genres, it's a much larger market than the existing reader market. There's just an audience that is looking to consume story that wouldn't read, right? So you get
Yeah.
access to people not only that might not necessarily look at reading as a fun pastime, but don't have the time, right? Like if I'm a truck driver, I've got a lot of time to listen to stories. I don't have a lot of time to read.
Yeah, totally. I mean, I feel like, yeah, it's accessing like both a new listener reader base and then also just a new format for authors too to start, earning and creating. And so that's kind of the first piece. It's like unlocking audio as a new format, and sort of leveling the playing field so anyone can access audio, not just large publishers who have the resources to do it with their, top 100 books of that year. And then there's kind of this other piece, which is, this is the holy grail that I would say a lot of authors want, which is like finding a new reader and listener base. And so we have this consumer app called ElevenReader that, and we can chat more about this, but we've kind of unlocked a sort of net new listener base that we think has been really resonating with the existing listener bases that many indie authors already are trying to market towards. And so that's kind of the second piece. And then third is just like, how can you earn more? And so we've recently launched, actually just this week, our new direct sales model. And so our goal is to help authors just directly create, directly sell, and then directly sell their audiobooks and earn as much as possible. And everyone can earn a 60% royalty completely transparently, with no exclusivity. They'll maintain their rights. And so those are kind of our three goals. I would just characterize it as unlocking that new supply, reaching new audiences, listener audiences, and then helping authors earn more.
Awesome. Well, let's like dive a little deeper on that because like I think if we lined up 10 authors, probably all 10, if at least nine of them would say, my biggest problem is finding more readers or listeners
Yeah.
at any stage of the career. It doesn't matter. Like in the beginning, it's really true because you have zero. And when you get bigger, it's like you're like, when is there ever enough readers? So tell me more about solving that problem.
Yeah, so I think this is one of the more interesting things about the ElevenReader platform. So it's a consumer app. You can download it on mobile, iOS or Android. You can also go on ElevenReader on the web. And we actually started by building it as like a personal text to speech platform. So think of it like you have this article you've been wanting to read. You just upload it onto ElevenReader and we'll narrate it for you, convert it to audio automatically and narrate it for you. Or you have this EPUB of a book that you want to listen to. It doesn't exist in audio. You just upload it and listen to it. You can't distribute it anywhere, but you can listen for personal use. So we found, we built this app, we launched and, scaled really, really rapidly. It's now being used by like hundreds of thousands, millions of people around the world who are listening to ebooks, PDFs, fanfics, things like that, and just importing their content and then listening to it, whether they're like commuting or working or, winding down before bed, you name it, like all different types of use cases. And so this is kind of this highly active and engaged user base. And we noticed this sort of interesting behavior, which is people who come in via this like text to speech use case, we started naturally exploring the other side of the app, which is our explore page, which is our catalog of published audiobooks from indie authors and publishers. And I would say there's quite an overlap actually between these two use cases. A lot of people who are importing their own content are importing, indie fiction, serialized fiction that just otherwise doesn't exist in audiobook, in audio format. And so it's kind of this high intent audience, and we're really focused on continuing to build sort of that loop there and helping guide users who come in for the text to speech use case to content that is right up their alley based upon what they've already been listening to. And so that pathway is a great way for indie authors who upload content to be published on our platform to tap into new audiences, and to find new listeners.
Interesting. So like if I'm thinking about this right, it's because you've identified a growing audience that um they want to consume material, but the way they want to consume it is via voice.
Exactly. Yeah.
Right.
And the stuff that they love is just doesn't exist in audio. And so they've, trying to figure out on their own, how can I listen to this if it's
Yeah.
not already an audiobook?
So if I'm on this explore side, then I kind of eliminate a step for them. It's like, oh, you want to listen to stuff rather than taking fan fiction that you found on Reddit and putting it in there to listen to. I've got my dark fantasy that's just like that.
Exactly. Yeah. And there's just a lot of overlap in these use cases. And so, yeah, that's a great example. It's, and that's like the type of thing or activity that we're seeing on the app today.
So before we like that's great. I mean, because like we said, like this is probably the single biggest issue that keeps coming up and is going to be a problem forever is like how do I get visibility and discovery? And I know you mentioned about royalties. We'll touch on that in a minute, but what I'd love to kind of get a feel for it so that the community understands like how you guys are thinking about this is like how are you guys designing your product to solve this problem? Like, how are you thinking about the problem now that you've discovered like you potentially have this solution?
Yeah. So are you saying on like the author side of things, like how you upload content?
Yeah, well, just the whole thing. Like you was like, oh wow, like we've got these pieces that are coming together that look like they solve a problem, right? There's a lot of
Yeah.
people that set out to design really elegant solutions for problems that don't exist. And here's a case where there's a problem that exists, you just happen to have an elegant solution.
Yeah.
How do you how if I'm an author do I start to think about using it? I'm also kind of interested to hear how your team, because you're coming from the other side as the solution provider, are thinking about where you want to go with this.
Yeah. So I think probably the first place to start is just like what the experience is like for authors. So it's very simple. Like you just bring your manuscript to the platform to 11reader.com/publishing and you just upload it. It will parse it super quickly. You'll be able to make any edits that you want within our editor. And then you basically fill out, some metadata details and press submit. And within a couple of days, your book will, be approved or not, um, and then published on our platform. And so then from there, like the book is on the platform. You can decide if you want to, list it for free or sell it for a price, and we can chat about direct sales and royalties in a little bit. And then, we're going to do everything that we can on the 11 Reader side of things to distribute your book to our users. And so that involves everything from, building, an exceptional algorithm so that listeners are, seeing content and books that are, most relevant to them, surfacing kind of new and upcoming authors and highlighting rising voices. And then also classifying the like types of content that come in via the text to speech import part of the platform, and taking those users and helping them find content on the explore page that they're interested in. So we're really focused on the like discovery piece. We know that's like so essential to authors, and something that we're, our team is like thinking a ton about, like how do we design that experience both like for users to find content that they're most interested in, and then obviously also for authors to match them with users who are excited about their content. So that's kind of the first piece. And then the second piece is on the supply side, like really enabling within the product ease of use for authors to do lots of different things, like, directly embedding a listen to me on 11 Reader badge on their website, or, directly selling to, very simply like linking a book to sell it to their audiences via their, newsletter or other engagement platforms. And so just kind of really streamlining the like author sharing functionality, and then also doing everything that we can on the discoverability side of things to sort of bring those two pieces into harmony and like create this great marketplace flywheel where authors can, come onto the platform and be fairly certain that they're going to find readers that are excited about their book, and then vice versa.
So, as somebody that uses ElevenLabs right now, help me think through the difference. Like, if I have an ElevenLabs account and I've been like taking my books and turning them into audio, do I need to have a paid account and do all that stuff, or is this completely different, or how do they fit together? Help me understand if I'm like a new author stepping into all this, like
Yeah.
those different pieces.
Yeah, it's a great question. So, yeah, many authors maybe will have come through kind of the 11 Labs platform, which is slightly different from 11 Reader. So the core 11 Labs platform, you have to pay a monthly fee for. Um, this is how you do things like add, multicast. You can add music. It kind of levels up the audio production, and it also enables you to distribute to like Spotify, to download the MP3. You can upload it, all sorts of places. So that's kind of the core 11 Labs app. 11 Reader is a completely free platform. And so you have a little bit less control and flexibility over, multicast voices, adding in music, things like that. But it's the exact same voices that exist on the 11 Labs platform. They will sound, just as lifelike, and the output will be, just as high quality. And then you'll like through 11Reader, you'll just be able to list it on 11Reader versus distributing on other platforms. So that's the way to think about the distinction. And it's super easy. Like your accounts are linked. So if you want, for some books to just post on publish via 11Reader, totally fine. And for other books that you want to, level up your audio production, and distribute them all over the place, then you can publish some on ElevenLabs, and it's really up to you kind of how you navigate the two platforms.
Okay, so if I was an author and I decided I'm using ElevenLabs and I have an ElevenLabs account, and I've written my book and I've decided I'm going to do a duet, and I've picked it all out and I've created it, and now I'm going to go wide. I'm going to put it on every platform. Can
Mm.
I put my files that I've created that are identical? They're going to be everywhere. Can I put that into 11Reader?
Yeah, certainly.
Okay.
Yeah. And sorry, so you're saying this is produced via ElevenLabs?
Yeah, so I
Yeah,
think
exactly.
so. I think if I'm understanding you correct, and like this is why we're here talking about this, is so people understand. Is one way I could do this is I've I'm writing short stories or serialized fiction. I don't know if this stuff's got legs. I can go into 11Reader for free, upload
Mhm.
this stuff, and create an account and start doing this. And maybe through discovery, people start reading my retelling of fairy tales, serialized fiction that I'm writing.
Yep.
So, and that costs me zero. And I get a royalty when they start buying these things.
Yep.
And I could then decide that I've already got an existing fan base. I'm going wide with my audio. I'm using um, some particular voices that I've selected, and we can talk about that in a minute. Um, that I want always to be my voices for my brand. I
Mhm.
create those. I distribute it to Shop or Spotify. I put it on my Shopify store. I put it up in Audible or ACX, and I now can go over and I have this new channel, which is 11Reader.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good way to think about it. I think, yeah, like if you started publishing your books on 11Reader, it's free. It's super easy. It takes 25 minutes to upload a day to hear back if it's been published. And super easy to share, and discoverability and all of that. And then maybe, yeah, there's one or two books that you're like, I really want to invest in, doing this with multicast, adding in music, making this like a more immersive audio experience. I'm going to pay monthly for ElevenLabs to create these products, or to create these audiobooks for a couple of them, and then you can go wide with that and push them onto your Spotify, your Shopify, wherever.
Mhm.
So that's definitely something we see a number of authors doing already. And yeah, it's a great way to kind of test the market, see what's resonating, and then decide which ones you want to invest in more heavily.
Yeah. I think it's just helpful, for most authors, they're in their chair, head down, writing books all day. They're not really thinking, they don't even want to really have to market, but like when you start to mention things like discoverability and visibility, it's like, oh, what's this? And it's like, well, there are some things here that are different. And if you understand them, you see the value of what you guys are creating around the idea of like, if you're somebody who's maybe not even like fully published, you're writing short stories, why not put some of these through this platform and see if there's an audience?
Totally. Yeah. And it's super easy. Yeah, I mean, we'd love to see any books that anyone wants to publish. We're excited to see them on the platform. And yeah, and hopefully find new audiences and share them with your audience and see what's resonating.
Awesome. So we kind of touched on it, but like if somebody is going to start dedicating some time to this, like one of our questions typically is if you only had 30 minutes a day,
Yeah.
a week, or 30 minutes a week, what would you do to solve this problem? And I think we need to kind of change that a little bit and say like, well, if you're getting started thinking about this, how should people approach that to get the most value out of 11 Reader?
Yeah. So, I mean, my recommendation would be to just make an account and play around with the platform, like upload your first book and see what you think. Um, you know, it's super simple. It takes, like I said, 5 minutes. And just publish your first book and share it with your audience and see, if it resonates, if people like the way that the voices sound, what type of feedback you get from your audiences. And then you can start to level up over time. We have a number of different features I'll just call out. Like one is obviously the ability to list books for sale. So um, you can list the book, you'll earn a 60% royalty on all sales that you make. And so you can play around and experiment with listing books for free or for paid. And we have tons of reporting features that make it super easy for you to track sales, to track engagement, to track drop off points, all of those types of things that just like help you
Okay,
really.
let's stop right there. Whoa. So you're telling me that if I put my book up there, I'm going to be able to see when people drop off inside it?
Yeah, exactly. You'll be able to see it won't break it down just yet on like at chapter 2 they dropped off, but you'll be able to see what percentage of the way through the book they dropped off.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's crazy because that's something that a lot of authors would love to see on any platform.
Yeah.
And it that now you've addressed a different problem, which is probably even more important, and that is why you're not getting people to consume the product, right? Like if you see if there's been 10 downloads and they all drop off at 30%,
Yeah.
that's not a listener problem, right?
Content problem.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a content problem.
Totally. Yeah, and I think the way that we thought about like reporting is, we actually just revamped our reporting dashboard, and the work there was like we spoke with dozens and dozens and dozens of indie authors and heard from them like what are the most pressing problems to you as you think about you like how you want to track engagement and listeners and reporting and all of that. And um we just feel as a company and as a team like very dedicated to helping authors grow and earn from audio, and we know that reporting is a really big part of that. And so
Mhm.
our team worked super hard to like design and build what we think is probably the most forward thinking reporting platform amongst all competitors, and it's something that we're continuing to evolve to, and something we're super focused on getting right. So we also welcome all feedback too.
No, that's great because I think that, for there's a lot of authors that aren't going to care about that, but um, we're in a world where if you're a content creator, yeah, I have to be kind of a data scientist as well. And using information that you can get um, will, you know, help you to build a better product. And I do know it's probably going to be the case with your algorithm, but certainly is the case with other people's algorithm, is that consumption is one of the indicators that products get weighted on. And if it's one thing that they buy the book, but do they read the book? Right.
Yeah, totally.
And certainly on other platforms, that ends up being the problem is if you do some kind of gambit where you sell a lot of books and they end up just dying in somebody's to be read pile or to be listened to pile, you're like, what ended up happening? It's like, well, the machine didn't ever see those books read. So they're going to recommend something that sold just like that was read.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, so that's kind of one of the features. You should definitely like upload your book, play around with that, see what you think. And then I would say just two other things. The other is just like improved series functionality. We heard from a bunch of authors that it's really hard to like list books in a series, list that the
Mm,
first book is free, offer readers a really seamless way to navigate to book two. So, we've solved that, and are continuing to invest resources in like making sure that series are done really right. And then the third is our audio only mode. So when you are listening to a book on ElevenReader, something that's actually quite cool is like you can also see the text as you're listening. So it's kind of an ebook and an audiobook in one. But we've heard from a number of authors who who are on Kindle Unlimited that they've already sold their ebook rights, and so while they'd love to upload to ElevenReader, they can't
Mm,
upload if the text is being shown. And so now we have audio only mode. So if you're an author and you've already sold your ebook rights, you can just click audio only mode, so users won't be able to see the text when they've uploaded their book. So just little things like that. Like we're constantly trying to listen to and grow from this community of indie authors specifically, and hear what are the features that you need to be super excited to use ElevenReader. And like I said, we're super open to feedback, and yeah, excited. I mean, Author Nation will be a great chance for us to chat with authors and hear what they want to see on the platform. And we move really quickly and can build new products and features quite quickly to accommodate author needs.
cool. So speaking of that, you're going to be at Author Nation this year. What are you hoping that folks that come to the show get out of, interacting with you at the event?
Yeah. I mean, I hope that folks who are curious about experimenting with audio or always wanted to, hear their book as an audiobook, but maybe it just didn't make sense economically, or they just found it challenging to navigate the like ACX or, existing audiobook landscape, come away feeling like they're interested and excited to try out audio, both because it's fun to hear your book read aloud, and also because it just makes a lot of sense. Like it's the fastest growing market in publishing. It's a easier way, and it's a great way to reach new audiences. And so hopefully we meet a lot of people who are interested in trying it out. We'd love to see anyone come to our booth. If you've already had the chance to list your books on ElevenReader and to sell them, we'd love to hear what you think. And if you come by the booth too, we have a bunch of promos up our sleeve, various special royalty rates, things like that we'd love to offer folks at Author Nation. So please come over and say hi.
Cool, cool. Well, we're going to wrap up here, but why don't you tell us, if somebody isn't able to come to the show for whatever reason, or they just can't wait because of, it's um, 6 weeks away or wherever we're at this point. Where can they find you? How do they get started with all this? What are the steps to kind of get going?
So go to elevenreader.io/publishing, and you can upload your manuscript right away, and then publish it on our platform and see what you think. And then if you like it, we'd love for you to upload more books. You can join our Facebook group, where we'll post about special features for and special updates for authors, and just chat with others who are experimenting with audio and publishing on ElevenReader. And so that's the best way. Upload one book, see what you think, and then of course we'd love for you to upload way more if you like it.
Great, great. All right, Madeline, thanks for sharing what's going on at ElevenLabs and ElevenReader. I'm excited about having you at the show. I think this is going to be some real opportunity for our community. And there's some things that I've made notes here that we're going to talk about after we get off camera, about some cool stuff we might have planned before and during the show with ElevenReader. I mean, I just coming from this little bit that we've had to chat about this product, it's got me really thinking about things in a different way. I mean, our past conversations have been very business, like sponsorship stuff. Now we're talking about the actual product and what it means for our audience. So,
Yeah,
um,
excited.
so again, thanks for being on the show. Folks, if you're wanting to dive deeper into ElevenReader or ElevenLabs, there are going to be notes in the show notes, links to click on. If you're coming to the show, be sure to come see Madeline and check on some of those special deals she's got. They have a booth all week at the Mix and Mingle Midway, and they will be at Reader Nation as well. If you haven't registered for the show, go and do that now at authornation.live, because you don't want to miss out on this kind of stuff that's happening. This relationship is an example of how we are being at the forefront of what's going on in the technological and content changes that are going to be driving the publishing business. And this is going to create more opportunities for content creators. And if you're in early on a platform like this, discovery wise, it's going to be um, really helpful for your career.
Awesome. Yeah. We'd love to meet all of you. Please come to the booth and join our Facebook group and we can chat directly there.
Thanks a lot.
Thanks, Joe.